Well, in closing, Jeanne, I wanted to know if there are other things we should be thinking about with fire. I am a policy wonk, so I'm always
Mhm.
interested in knowing what kind of opportunities we've been missing. Are there keys that could unlock um, real synergies of policy or effort or funding that we should know about, or really anything else you feel like we should know about fire and fuels here?
Well, during the pandemic, how are you in your county going to manage evacuations? Where are
Mm,
people going to go? How are you going to keep the social distancing?
mhm.
What are you going to do with folks? Like if you had something come in like a Paradise Fire, they flooded Chico like there's no tomorrow, and rightly so.
Mhm,
But we didn't have a pandemic at the same time.
mhm,
How do you keep that social distancing? A lot of places have set up shelter in place locations, but they
mhm.
were like everybody's together.
Yeah.
How much do you need to widen those so that you get what you need during a pandemic?
Mhm.
Um, Social media is great. As an IC, I actually had a public relations person monitor the social media because
Oh.
people would tell me we were evacuating long before we even started,
Oh.
and so it's like, no, we're not doing that yet.
Mhm,
So the
mhm,
communication loops that you can set up within your county,
mhm.
huge, 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 because
Okay.
it's so much easier for an incident commander to come up and say, hey, Elizabeth, can you start people in this area to understand that it's going to take 8 hours for it to evacuate in here? We're
Mhm,
not there yet, but they might start thinking about getting ready.
mhm. Pack a bag or get their
Something.
animals in the house. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those kinds of things. And where are you going to put them and where are they going to go? And
Mhm,
how, can you get the sheriff deputies out there to keep the traffic flowing nicely? Those kinds of things.
mhm.
They're down around Idlewild.
Sure.
They have set up a mountain area task force
Oh.
that has set up their towns by zone so that we could say zone A is going to go first. They go out first. Zone B goes second. So there's not a traffic clog because there's only two ways out of there.
Sure. Just like we experienced with Paradise and the campfire, that
Right.
that was one of the biggest reasons people couldn't get out. That's a
Exactly.
really wise strategy.
Right.
That's great.
And how do you get people that, like my mom lived in Washington, but my mom was no longer driving.
Mm,
How do you deal with people like that? Do you have a neighborhood set up that can help get people out?
mhm, mhm,
Those kinds of things. They sound really simple, but they're huge, huge, huge things to get
mhm,
done. And it
mhm,
doesn't take a whole lot of funding. It takes a whole lot of community effort.
mhm,
So getting the community to talk about all these things and how to deal with it in smaller groups, like we
sure.
go, the city is branched out into 2, 3 places. Now I need you to build some divisions. And how would you do this? To
Yeah.
put it in our language
Yeah.
so that we can take care of folks.
Okay. That's really
Yeah.
building trust within communities and then smaller subsets as well. Something that
Right.
we've really tried to do with the pandemic as well, checking on neighbors and making sure
Right.
people are getting food. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. Good advice.
Oh, good.
Well,
Excellent.
thank you. Yeah, thank you so much, Jeanne, for talking about this issue. It's obvious you're very passionate about it. So thank
I
you.
did have fun with my career. I enjoyed it thoroughly.
That's great. Appreciate your
Mhm.
service to our community.